Actor Hugh Quarshie is known to millions as Dr. Rick Griffin in the BBC drama series Holby City.
It wasn't just a vein. It was the inferior vena cava.
It was an addition.
No. That's what this whole thing hinged on. That's what was going to get this guy out of his wheelchair, remember?
Hugh was born in Ghana in 1954, but has lived most of his life in Britain.
When I was at school, I was one of a very small number of black kids, and that's pretty much how it's remained throughout my life.
Hugh went to public school in Cheltenham. After studying at Oxford University, he decided to become an actor and went on to work at the Royal Shakespeare Company. Although his family are from West Africa, they also have European roots.
I know that I have Dutch ancestry and English ancestry, but quite where it comes from, quite where the roots of that blood are, I don't know. I'd like to find out how that happened, where it all started, where did we come from, and whether it makes any sense to talk of a single place as home.
Hugh lives in North London with his Swedish wife Annika and his two youngest children, Freya and Casper.
Take a half a lemon and just get grandpa's chicken and squeeze it. Bravo, Casper, that's heroic. So, this is the house that I grew up in, and I have been trying to get out of it ever since, but I haven't quite managed to break the chain with this piece of Britain that is forever Ghana. This is in memory of your grandmother, who loved her jollof rice.
Hugh's family came to Britain in 1957, when Hugh was 3 years old. His late father, Richard, was a diplomat with the Ghanaian government. His mother, Emma, was a schoolteacher.
The plan wasn't to stay, but, you know, circumstances and events led to the fact that I've been here for more than half a century now. Well, that's me there, aged 3, I think. Yeah, I see. You can see I never quite got it framed, but can you spot me? Yes, I'm the one with the homage to Hendrix afro. Again, this is the matriculation photograph at Christchurch, Oxford. Do I need to point myself out? I remember at university, some pretty blonde Sloane Ranger at the dinner party asking me, so tell me, Hugh, what's it like being a darkie? Well, of course, I had to take her outside and explain.
Hugh's mother Emma's ancestry is a mystery. She always hinted to her children that she had aristocratic Ghanaian connections.
My mother used to style herself the Duchess of Abbey. Why, we don't know. It's always been a bit of a mystery, since I don't know where Abbey is, indeed if it exists, and we don't have those titles. Dukes and Duchesses, we don't have those titles in Ghana. And I don't know what claim, if any, she had to any such title. So it would be interesting to find out why she called herself the Duchess of Abbey.
But as well as a possible link to African nobility, Hugh's mother's family had strong European connections.
My mother came from the Phillips family. The name Phillips, I think it's British in origin. This is my grandmother on her wedding day. That's her there, and that's the man she married, William Reginald Phillips was his name. It's always intrigued me that they've chosen to depict themselves more as Europeans than as Africans. You notice that nobody is wearing African clothing. They're all wearing Edwardian gear, and there's some very elaborate headgear there. And my grandmother's in a white wedding dress with a long train. They obviously took great pride in the fact that they had European ancestry, you know. I don't know where the money came from to enable this wedding group to dress like this. I have to say, none of them looks particularly happy. But I know that he was a trader, a merchant, and I'm assuming that that was the source of the wealth. That, in other words, the money was earned rather than inherited. But I don't know. It may well be that there isn't a single place that I can call home.
To begin his research into his mother's family tree, Hugh has returned to Ghana and the city of Accra, the nation's capital and the place where he was born.
When you come to Ghana, there's always a sense of optimism, I think. The people always seem pleased to see you, even if they don't know who you are. They're so friendly, so welcoming. I've lived in the UK now for more than half a century, so I can't really say that I consider Ghana my home. But there's no denying that there is a feeling of homecoming somehow.
Ghana was formerly a British colony known as the Gold Coast. Before the arrival of European colonists, the territory was home to several ancient African kingdoms, including the Ashanti and Fanti peoples. The first Europeans to arrive were the Portuguese in the 1480s. They were soon joined by other European powers, including the Dutch in 1598 and the British 150 years later. By the early 20th century, opposition to British colonial rule was growing. And in 1957, after a decades-long struggle, the Gold Coast became the first country in West Africa to gain its independence. The first independent government of Ghana included several members of Hugh's family, including his uncle, Jimmy Phillips.
We're going to the house of my mother's brother, my Uncle Jimmy. And he's going to, I hope, shed some light on this photograph, the wedding photograph of my grandmother and grandfather, a group of Ghanaian Edwardians. I hope he can point me in the right direction to find out where the Phillips came from, because that was the family name, my mother's maiden name. Today's his 88th birthday.
Hugh hasn't been back to Ghana in 5 years and rarely gets to see his Ghanaian family.
Oh, Uncle.
Hugh, that's a great day today. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it's we've been looking forward to this visit for a very long time. And
I'm so pleased to be here with you.
yes,
This is, of course,
I
for you.
say this is a bad beginning, this sort of thing. But many thanks. It's appreciated, greatly appreciated.
To help celebrate Uncle Jimmy's birthday, Hugh is joining his extended family.
Hey,
You proceed until you come to the end, and then you stop.
yes, that's right. How are you? You forgot. You know I don't like Mr. Griffin.
Oh, okay, fine.
Dr. Griffin. Woo! Hip it!
Following Hugh's mother's death in 2004, her brother, his Uncle Jimmy, is one of the last links to the Phillips side of his family.
So you were born in 22?
Yes.
So this wedding would have taken place years before you were
Oh,
born?
years before me,
Yeah.
yes.
Around 1914, 1915, I would guess.
And that's certainly father, certainly mother.
So this is my grandfather, William
Yes,
Reginald.
yes.
And this is my grandmother,
Yes.
Beatrice.
That's right, yes. Look at them. Each one of them is wearing neat clothes and so on.
There's a silk topper here.
Yes.
There's two on the ground, in fact.
Yes. They were not the people to dress shabbily for an occasion like that.
Uh-huh. He was a trader.
father had a business in Cape Coast. It was called E.B. Efson and Company. They imported things, sent them to the villages and distributed them and packaged them into smaller quantities so that people can buy. And this is it.
Yes.
That's my father there, over there.
Oh, in his Freemasons.
Yes,
outfit.
yes.
He's obviously very light-skinned for a Ghanaian. That obviously points to...
It's interesting that you mentioned this, because I was looking at a book recently. Let me pick it up and show it to you. This person wrote The Pen Pictures of Modern Africans and African Celebrities, Volume 1. And here's a photograph of my father.
Oh,
but,
yes, I think.
Born in Elmina in 1879, merchant, and the subtitle, White Man.
White Man.
And it's very interesting what this man wrote. You see, if you choose, you can call yourself black. If you choose, you need not be black. You are as white as if you were from Saxony, a white man from Elmina.
I think the point is, it's just interesting that he uses terms like octoroon and here he has a mulatto lady, because these are terms which people don't use these days.
Actually, I thought it was ancient anthropological language.
But of course, this author calls him our own white man. But did my grandfather think of himself as a white man?
No, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Uncle Jimmy knows that his father, William Reginald Phillips's light skin tone, came from his father, an Englishman named Phillips. All he knows is that this man came to Ghana sometime in the 19th century, but returned to England, leaving his Ghanaian family behind.
We don't know what he was called. The records indicate that he was called Phillips, but we cannot trace what Phillips he was.
Although Uncle Jimmy has no further record of his English grandfather, he does have some more information about his grandmother, Hugh's great-grandmother, including her full name.
Anna Camelin was the mother. Father is Anna Camelin's son.
And Camelin, that's a Dutch name?
That's a Dutch name, that's for sure.
So the best course would be to go through the name Cameling.
That's right, yes.
William Reginald Phillips's mother, Hugh's great-grandmother, was a mixed-race woman of African and Dutch blood named Anna Cameling. Before exploring her story, Hugh wants to find out more about the extent of his grandfather William Reginald Phillips's property and business interests, and the source of his family's wealth. He's visiting the Ghanaian National Archives in Accra.
Hello, sir. Hello, thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to find some information about my grandfather, whose name was William Reginald Phillips. As far as I know, he was born in 1879.
He was resident in Cape Coast.
Yes, yes.
You take a seat here.
Right.
Whilst I bring your grandfather's well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hugh's grandfather, William Reginald Phillips, died in 1936. Hugh has called up a copy of his last will and testament.
Thank you very much. Ah, page 5.
Page 5, so we open to page 5. Yeah. Here.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is the last will and testament of William Reginald Phillips, Arena, partner of Messrs. E.B. Efson and Company. So he's a partner in this company here. It says I gave and bequeathed to my wife Beatrice Phillips my house situate at 25 2nd Street, 2nd D. He's left £200 for my grandmother Beatrice and 2 properties as far as I can work out. I mean, he's left £50 each to his brothers, Emmanuel, Benjamin. I don't know how much £50 would have been then. I don't know how much £200 would have been at that time, but I'm assuming it's a fairly substantial amount. There's another property here, 3 Commercial Square. And here He talks about selling a cocoa farm and land at Egwafu in the Elmina district. My impression from reading the will is that this was a fairly fastidious and thoroughgoing man, and he's also quite substantial. He was obviously a man of property. He must have been a man of standing. Obviously, you know, he was a man of some substance.
Hugh is leaving the capital Accra and heading along the coast on the trail of his grandfather's wealth.
It's interesting to me that the style of my grandfather was very European and actually quite Edwardian and English. He was a Freemason and something of a patriarch. I'm hoping that we can find out a little bit more about that world.
Hugh is travelling to the area of Cape Coast and the town where his grandfather was born, Elmina.
It's not quite the town that time forgot, but there is just a feeling of going back into time.
Elmina is an important trading port with a long colonial history. When the Portuguese arrived in Elmina in the late 15th century, they built a massive fort, Elmina Castle, as their main trading base. By the middle of the 16th century, it was the slave trade that dominated the Gold Coast region, and tens of thousands of slaves were channeled through Elmina, bound for the New World. The slave trade ended in the early 19th century, but the castle continued to dominate the town, and Elmina would be defined by over 4 centuries of European trade and colonial rule. To find out more about the source of his family's wealth and the colonial world they inhabited, Hugh has arranged to meet local historian Dr. Anthony Annan-Prah.
Hello, good afternoon, Hugh. You are most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Please come in.
Anthony, I'm here because I'm trying to find out more about my maternal grandfather, who was born in Elmina about 1879, a very light-skinned man. His name was William Reginald Phillips.
If the family name is Phillips, then he falls into the mulatto elite group that emerged from intermarriages between the Europeans and the local people.
But we're talking specifically here about the offspring of children of African mothers and European colonizers.
Yes. They knew that they were mulatto groups and they were special people.
What would have been the source of the wealth and the power of this mulatto elite?
Trade. They may be trading guns, gunpowder,
Right.
industrially produced goods, clothing, etc.
Hugh's grandfather and his family were not unique. They were part of a distinct social class which was created by over 400 years of contact with Europeans. They worked largely as middlemen and brokers and enjoyed a privileged status. With their mixed-race heritage, they could move freely between 2 different worlds, working with both the local tribal chiefs and the European colonial powers.
My grandfather was also a fairly active Freemason. Was that something that was commonly practiced amongst that elite?
Freemasonry is also a sort of fraternity. This elite helped one another, and it was also an opportunity for them to meet, share problems. So Freemasonry actually put the elite, the educated, highly educated at that time, together.
Like Hugh's grandparents, William and Beatrice Phillips, this mixed-race merchant class tended to intermarry as a way of strengthening its power and influence. And European men working on the coast would often marry into this group or have children with local women.
This is another wedding photograph.
With the Union Jack in the background there.
Yes. Yes, which means that you were already in the British era of control. Now, this
is the one. This looks like the Bullingdon Club at Oxford. Look at these canes here. The dress is one thing, the posture is another. It is as if these guys are really getting into their part. I'm sure these were men of great distinction, but the effect, I have to say frankly, is a little bit comical. Legs crossed and the haughty expression.
Before the British took control of the Gold Coast, they shared it with the Dutch, whose maritime empire stretched across the world. The Dutch Empire began in the 17th century, when the Dutch used their shipping and business skills to establish a series of trading colonies in North America, Southeast Asia, and present-day South Africa. As a result, the Netherlands grew so wealthy that the 17th century became known as the Dutch Golden Age. In 1642, the Dutch took control of Elmina Castle from the Portuguese, and the Gold Coast became one of the Netherlands' most lucrative trading posts. Many of the Dutch settlers intermarried with the local people.
My grandfather's name was Phillips, but his mother was Kamerling. It was a Dutch name. Have you heard the name Kamerling before?
Yes, there's a Kamerling house on Mount Pleasant.
All right, thank you. I'll go and find it.
Dr. Pra has given Hugh a local lead in his search for his Dutch mixed-race ancestry.
This mulatto elite, for want of a better description, must have found themselves in a position of feeling neither black nor white. And so their loyalty was perhaps to each other rather than to any kind of indigenous tribal grouping. They might have borrowed their styles from Europe, but clearly their heart was here.
In the Mount Pleasant area of Elmina, there's a house which bears the Dutch surname of Hugh's great-grandmother, Anna Kamerling.
He did say it was a yellow and pink house, and here we are. Hello, Mommy. Pocho? We're from Kwashi, Hugh Kwashi.
What can I do for you?
Okay, well, I'm just trying to explain that I'm looking for the house of my grandfather's mother.
Okay.
And her name was Kamerling.
Okay.
And I've been told that this was the Kamerling house. Is your name Kamerling?
Yes, my grandmother is Anna Kamerling.
Anna Kamerling?
Yes. So you are welcome to Kamerling's house. This is Kamerling's house.
So there's a likelihood then that we're related.
Yes. You are welcome.
Okay.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go upstairs.
Okay.
Hugh's cousin Gertrude is introducing him to the family. Hugh has found a house full of relatives he never knew he had.
I'm just meeting the extended family now.
Thomas. But you find Mama Dorothy.
Mama Dorothy. Hello. Nice to meet you.
This house is home to many of Anna Kamerling's descendants.
You, I'm so happy to meet you today because my daughter is in the room in labor.
Oh.
If she should have a baby boy, I'm going to name him after you to remember this great day, your homecoming.
With a CPI.
I'm
honored. You grew up in this house?
Yes. But this is Kamerling's house.
I know that my grandfather, William Reginald Phillips, his mother was called Anna Kamerling.
Yeah. Your grandfather, Phillips, was the firstborn of Anna Kamerling.
Right. My great-grandmother, who was Anna Kamerling. Kamerling is a Dutch name. So presumably, was she mixed race, Dutch and African?
It's mixed.
She was mixed.
Yes.
And this is called the Kamerling house because it was built by her father,
Yes.
who was a Dutchman.
Yes.
So what do we know about the Dutchman Kamerling? What was his full name?
I don't know, but I know it's Kamerling, but he was working at the
Castle. He was an officer.
Officer in Castle.
He worked in the castle, but he was an administrator.
Yes.
Working for the Dutch.
Yes, for the Dutch.
In Elmina Castle.
Yes.
Elmina Castle.
All right.
I have the picture of Kamerling.
Oh, can I see? Where does this come from?
It was in the house, in this house.
And you're sure that this is Kamali?
Oh, yes.
My father told me this man, Kamali, had 3 sets of twins.
3 sets of twins?
Twins.
And the last one was my grandmother, Anna Kamali.
So this man Kamerling would have come to the Gold Coast in the early or mid part of the 19th century. He took to wife a local woman, had children with her,
Yes.
and then he built her a house, left her with some money, and then went back to Holland.
That is what they do. They come have children here and go back.
Dorothy's mother also had the experience of being abandoned by her English father.
My grandfather went and never came back. My father got his address somehow and used to call him and write to him. And the man wrote back to tell him not to write again because his wife never knew he had any African child. This is my mother's photograph.
She's beautiful. But did he ever send money or did he ever help? So her father never contacted her, never saw how beautiful she became.
No, he never saw her again.
Hugh has discovered that his great-great-grandfather was a Dutchman named Kamerling, who came to Elmina sometime in the mid-19th century and had a daughter named Anna with an unknown local woman. But Gertrude has more information about Hugh's mother's family.
That's my father.
Interesting that he should be in Kente Club. Was he a chief? Was he a Nana?
Yes.
Of Elmina?
Abi, there's a certain village there.
Of Abi?
Yes.
Well, this is interesting.
So he's the third chief.
Yeah, this is interesting because my mother used to say that she was the Duchess of Abi.
Yes, yes.
And I didn't know where Abi was or whether she had any claim to any title. But it was because she was the niece of Jacob Peter Efsen.
Yeah.
That she styled herself the Duchess. Yeah. I see.
This man, Jacob Peter Efsen, the chief of Abi, was a son of Anna Kamerling by her second marriage.
Chief of Abi.
Abi.
So who's the current chief?
No chief.
No chief. Why?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody wants to be a chief.
Yes. Well, maybe I should put in a claim to become the next chief.
Yes.
So there's a bit of royal blood in the family.
Hugh has made 2 discoveries at the Kamerling house. First, that he's related to the African chieftaincy of the village of Abi, and second, that his great-great-grandfather was a Dutchman named Kamerling, who worked at the fort in Elmina.
The original Kamerling seems to have been a Dutchman. We don't yet know his full name, but it seems that he was employed by the Dutch in this very fort. It seems to have been quite common within the family and quite common in Elmina generally for Europeans of whatever nationality, Dutch or British, to have children with local women and then to return to their country of origin, possibly to their original families.
By the time Kamerling arrived in Elmina in the mid-19th century, the Gold Coast had become a backwater. The slave trade had been outlawed in 1807, and Dutch business interests were declining. It was a remote posting for a man like Kamerling, with no European women.
It doesn't particularly fill me with any pride to claim descent from a Dutchman who took a native wife, had 6 children with her, and then scarpered off back to Holland. It'd be interesting to find out more about Kamerling, if at all possible. Who he was, where he came from, what kind of man he was, and what he went back to.
To investigate his Kamerling roots and find out more about his possible link to an African chieftaincy, Hugh is travelling to the village of Abi, a few kilometres outside Elmina. He's looking for evidence to prove his mother's claim that she was the Duchess of Abi.
I'm now on my way to the village of Abi. It does exist, and it seems that my great uncle was installed as the chief of Abi. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little bit apprehensive because I'm aware from my visit to the Kamerling house that there is a bit of tension about the chieftaincy. It seems that there is a vacancy and there's some dispute as to who should fill that vacancy. So I hope that they will understand that I come with good intentions. I wasn't really sure what to expect. It's actually, it looks as if it's a little bigger than in some of the places we've seen. Might be worth being chief here. Let's have a look.
The village elders are waiting for Hugh under the shade of the trees.
Yes, back. Okay, fine, good. That's it. No. So, okay. All right, thank you. But, fine, thank you. I'm being asked why I've come.
Yeah, why you have come.
Why I've come, okay. I've come simply because I want to find out more about my family. I really want to find out where I come from. My mother used to speak of Abi, and I wanted to find out why it was so special to her. So this is by way of a return to my roots, no more than that.
There are no written records of the foundation of the village. Instead, the history is passed on orally from generation to generation. The elders' story is that Abi was founded by an indigenous African man who came from the north.
Our ancestor, Nana Kobretechi, he came here first. When he came, he said, I will never go anywhere again. I will just stay here. To stay here in Fantine, Merebio. That is, I will never go anywhere again.
I see.
That is.
The meaning of the name Abi is I'm staying here.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
But it also turns out that Hugh's great-great-grandfather, the Dutchman Kamerling, played a vital role in the history of this village.
One white man came and stayed at Elmina. Then he got sick and he left to Abrochi.
Do you know what the name of the Dutchman was? The first Kamerling. What was his first name?
Peter Kamerling.
He was Peter Kamerling.
Yeah, and I'm Peter Kamerling.
Oh, your name is Kamerling.
Yeah, I'm Peter Kamerling. And my father is Peter Kamerling. He's now sitting down here.
You are Peter Kamerling. Oh, hello, sir. I'm very pleased to meet you.
The name Peter Kamerling seems to have special status in the village.
Let's take the snaps.
Okay.
To honour the village ancestors, the local tradition is to make an offering at the foundation stone of the village. Hugh has brought along 2 bottles of Dutch schnapps. The chieftaincy of the village of Abi is currently in dispute, but there's an acting village chief, and Hugh has been invited to meet him.
The chief is in the room.
Oh, he's here?
Yes, yeah.
So
he's waiting for us.
Okay, oh, excellent.
Okay.
You can meet him then.
And you are now a chief here. So.
One of the elders introduces Hugh to the acting chief, Nana Eko Datse Coleman.
He is our son, our brother, our everything here. So he decided to find where his mother came from.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The chief may have information about the Kamerling connection.
Nana, I've now established that my great-great-grandfather was a man called Kamerling. I don't know very much about him. Can you tell me his full name? Do you know?
Yeah. Our great great-grandfather with the name Peter Maximus Marius Kamerlingh was a Dutch captain. He married Wdytya Jench. He bought this land for the safekeeping of his children.
What we're saying is that effectively, Peter Kamerlingh, the Dutchman, was the man who established
Abbey.
Yeah.
The Dutchman bought it for his wife, children, and relatives.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
But Kamerlingh's connection with Abbey could also affect Hugh's status in the village.
Am I right in saying that I could make some claim on the stool?
You have a right to the stool.
Okay.
You are a son of a Kamerlingh. Your mother is a Kamerlingh. Okay? You have right to this just like myself. My grandmother is a Kamerlingh. My mother is Coleman. So you have the right to it likewise myself.
I see. Okay.
I can today just get up and say, Hugh, I'm tired, come and I've relinquished the stool for you.
Okay. May I make it clear on camera that I'm very happy that Nana is sitting on the stool and not me. I think he will discharge his responsibility with far greater dignity and aplomb than I could ever manage. So, Nana, please stay on the stool.
Thank you. Okay. Where do you live in London?
I live in Temple Fortune.
Temple Fortune?
Yes. Near Golders Green.
I know. I live in Edgware.
Aha. Okay.
That's my Mrs. Wdytya Coleman. So, as from today, we are making you a second word of mouth, or chairman number 2 in Abbey. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very, very much happy to be home.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored for this.
Hugh has discovered the first name of his Dutch great-great-grandfather, Peter Kamerlingh, and the name of his great-great-grandmother, a local woman named Wdytya Jench.
I'm delighted to find that there is such a place called Abbey. You know, my mother used to style herself the Duchess of Abbey, and I had no idea why she called herself that, and I thought it was a bit of a joke because we don't have those titles. You know, you have chiefs and or charmers, but you don't have dukes and duchesses or whatever. Of course, surprised and delighted to find that, as the chief told me, I have a claim to the throne. You know, his name was Peter Kamerlingh. Whether it was Peter Marius or Peter Martinus Johannes isn't perhaps the important detail. What was rather touching was the high regard in which he's held, and he's clearly esteemed, and the number of people who have been called Peter after him. But what is clear is that he did buy the land, and that he returned to Holland and did not return. So if I'm to find out more about him and why he didn't return, I guess I'll have to follow in his footsteps and go to Holland. Well, I've come a long way from Ghana, now back in Europe, hence the overcoat scarf. And I've come to Den Haag, the administrative capital of the Netherlands, to find out a bit more about Kamerlingh, my great-great-grandfather.
Hugh is meeting Dr. Michel Dortmund, an expert on Dutch colonial history.
Professor Dortmund, I presume?
Yes, Michel Dortmund.
They're visiting the Dutch National Archives, which hold extensive records of the Gold Coast from the period when it was under Dutch control. At that time, the Dutch name for this part of West Africa was Guinea. Dr. Dortmund has found Peter Kamerlingh's original civil service records, which provide details of his posting in Guinea.
Obviously, it is in Dutch, so let me help you in translating.
It's just as well you're here.
Yes, Peter Kamerlingh, is actually called Peter Martinus Johannes, rather than
yes,
Marius.
Yes.
Born in Rotterdam on the 23rd of March, 1826.
1826, okay.
And then he arrives in Elmina on the 21st of March, 1856. 3 months later, 4 months later, he's appointed commander of Fort Orange in Secondy.
So he was in charge.
He was in charge.
Okay. Can we make any guesses about the sort of man he was? I mean, how did he get the appointment?
There were very many reasons for people to go to the Gold Coast. Some of them came for adventure, others because they just needed a job.
He might have been desperate, he might have been an adventurer, he might just have been a buccaneer of some kind.
When we have a look at the documents in the Ministry of the Colonies, we find a letter. When we flip it over, we find that it's a letter written by PMJ Kamerling in his own handwriting.
This is his writing?
This is his original application letter. And in it he says he has a job in the Clerk of Court's office of the District Court in The Hague. And being unmarried, he really feels no qualms to apply for a job as civil servant on the coast of Guinea.
So from this, would it be safe to deduce that he was a man of, an educated man, but a man of modest means, but he was obviously very keen to go to the Guinea coast?
Definitely. He's definitely in the category of the adventurer. He's young, he's unmarried.
Just dying of boredom in the Court
Most
of Justice.
Likely. And he's been there for a long time.
Peter Kamerling was only 29 years old when he was appointed Fort Commander on the Gold Coast. Declining Dutch business interests and the region's reputation for diseases like malaria meant that by the middle of the 19th century, it was not a popular posting. But the Gold Coast still attracted ambitious young men eager to advance their careers in the Dutch civil service and escape their ordinary lives in Holland for exotic travel and adventure. Hugh is searching for evidence in the records of Peter Kamerling's African family.
There's no reference to the fact that he got married. Would that suggest that he didn't marry or just he had a native customary marriage?
It was usual for most of the Dutch officials to get an African wife in marriage. It wouldn't be European style marriage, it would be a common law local marriage. But it would be official and it would be binding, so it's not like they had a concubine or just took a wife as a girlfriend. It's also a relationship that had different meanings. It was economic in character, but also social. It had something to do with finding homeliness, finding a family.
Peter Kamerling's wife was an African woman named Efua Jensch. But in the records, the mother of his children is named as Ellen van der Spek.
So here we have a document signed by Peter Martinus Johannes Kamerling and Ellen van der Spek. The story that I'd heard in Elmina was that the wife had been called Efua Jensch.
It's my suspicion that they're one and the same person. It's very clear. She signs Ellen, so she must have been calling herself Ellen. And she is the wife of Peter.
Right.
And there's one other thing that can be mentioned, and that's the fact that Ellen van der Spek is named as a private person, which means a lady of independent means. Most likely she is a trader.
But one question remains. If Peter Kamerling was so settled on the Gold Coast, why did he return to Holland and leave his family behind?
This is the journal for 1862, and when we look at that, we find an entry for the 13th, Wednesday the 13th of August 1862. And again it runs, the assistant PMJ Kamerling here, coming from Axim, to find medical treatment because he is suffering from chronic diarrhea.
We're talking about more than a bad prawn, we're talking about dysentery. Definitely. Probably.
Diarrhea is prevalent, dysentery is prevalent, but also malaria. It could hit at any moment. There was no medication for it. It's not for nothing that it's called the white man's grave.
Yes.
In 1865, Peter Kamerling was forced to leave his wife and children and return to Holland severely ill. He'd spent 12 years on the Gold Coast. However, Michel has found one final reference to Kamerling in the official records.
There is an application by a Mr. Kamerling who wants to be vice consul in Elmina.
Kamerling's trying to get back.
Apparently. However, the advice by the colonial office is that he should not be appointed, and what it led to was that he did not return.
So this is 6 years later, he's asking to go back, but there's no mention of his wife or any children that he might have had with her.
Not really from this record. However, I happen to know a member of the Kamerling family who is also the keeper of the family archives, and he might have more information for us.
Good record keepers, the Dutch, aren't they? This sounds promising.
On the other side of Holland, close to the German border, is the town of Woerden. Hugh is going there to meet Eric Kamerling, a descendant of Peter Kamerling, who may have information about Peter's life back in Holland.
Peter Martinus Johannes Kamerling was a provincial Dutchman after all. So far he doesn't quite seem like the exploitative, ugly European that I feared. He does seem to have done his best to be reunited with his family in the Gold Coast. I'm about to find out as much as I can in the last leg of this journey about my great-great-grandfather from the man who I think is his great-nephew.
Hello.
Hello. Eric Kamerling.
Yes.
I'm Hugh Kwashi.
I
believe we have an ancestor in common.
Yes, my name is Eric Kamerling, and welcome to here.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting to see you, but
thank you.
Come in.
Thank you very much indeed. Hello. Hello.
That's my wife,
Mrs. Kamerling.
Sophie.
Sophie.
Nice to meet you.
I'm very pleased to meet you. I'm Hugh Kwashi, and you know that my search for my roots has led me here to Woerden.
Very nice.
Eric has a pile of documents which he inherited from his grandfather, the nephew of Peter Kamerling.
I have here a photograph of Peter Martinus Johannes.
Wow.
That is your ancestor.
Well, well, well.
I think it is your great-great-grandfather.
Oh, this is wonderful. He's striking the pose of a young officer, a young blade about town, shall we say. This fits with the idea of somebody who was looking for adventure. Well, well, well.
And later on, in 1892, he was 66 years.
He looks a little bit sour there, I must say. Maybe he's had a few disappointments in life, but he doesn't look too happy. And I wonder what the story is behind the photograph.
And later on, when he was 70 years, this is the last picture before his death in 1910.
70 years old.
70 years old.
Wow.
And he married in 1869 with Agatha Wilhelmina Bilderdijk. This was his wife.
So,
yes, you have
he married this lady in 1869. I know, and all the records show, that he had a relationship, we believe a marriage, to a woman in the Gold Coast, and that he had tried to get back to her in 1872, but it seems that somewhere in between he got married to this woman. Well, effectively he had two families.
Agatha Wilhelmina was 45 and a widow when Kamerling married her. After 3 years, the couple separated, the same year that Kamerling applied unsuccessfully to return to the Gold Coast.
He wrote to his brother Anthony, often, I wish I will go back. to the coast to stay.
I often wish that I had stayed.
Yes.
On the coast.
On the coast.
So
he had a wish.
I see. So if he hadn't become ill, then he would have stayed.
Yes.
But did Peter and Agatha have children?
No. They have no children.
But did she have any idea that he had children on the west coast of Africa?
I think she didn't know.
So he kept it a secret from her?
He kept it a secret.
It was only when Kamerling died in 1910 that his secret came out.
This is the last will you see here, Peter Martinez, Johannes Kamerling. But the family knows nothing about it.
So this is a secret
and
will.
This time he put it in an envelope with 5 red seals. And when it was opened, then came the children.
So he talks about his children in Africa in the will.
Yes.
And he leaves his possessions to them?
All the things go to the children.
To the children. Do we know how many children had survived in the West Coast?
Yes, we know that. There was an other envelope.
The envelope contained the birth certificates of Kamerling's 4 surviving children.
This was Anna Johanna Kamerling, and the other children are Anthony, Peter, Johannes, Martinez, Johannes, and Elizabeth.
So these are the names of the 4 children?
Yes.
This is
As your great-grandmother?
Anna Kamerling?
Yeah. Is that right?
That's right. Anna was born 19th December 1858 in the castle of Orange at Secondi. Anna Johanna Kamerling, daughter of Peter Martinez, Johannes Kamerling, and Ellen van der Speck. Well,
Kamerling had arranged for these birth certificates to be sent to him from the Gold Coast in 1903.
So he perhaps anticipated that there might have been some dispute because the people might have argued, well, they're illegitimate. So that's why he got all these papers together to forestall that argument, to say, no, these are my recognized children. There's nothing illegitimate about them. They were his acknowledged children, and he wanted them to inherit.
Oh, yes.
Kamerling left his children 11,000 golden guilders, 12 times his annual salary.
Some of which presumably passed on through Anna Kamerling to her 3 sons, William Reginald, E.B. Efson, and J.P. Efson. And I'm speculating that was the money that was used to set up E.B. Efson and Company. This is my grandfather's company. And this is the picture that I have of his wedding to my grandmother. That's my grandfather, that's my grandmother.
But I know him.
You know this man?
Yes. I know him.
How do you know him? From where?
Well, that is the following thing. I give this envelope to you.
Well, that's my grandfather.
Well, that's the same man.
That's absolutely.
I've
seen this picture before in my uncle Jimmy's study, but it's found its way to your possession.
I don't know the history of these photographs.
It's, with the compliments of W.R. Phillips. So it was. So my grandfather sent this to
Peter Martinez Johannes. Yes. I think that is the mother of your grandfather.
This could be Anna Kamerling.
Yes, Anna Johanna.
I'm struck a bit dumb momentarily. Now, who would this lady be?
This is Ellen van der Speck, I think. This is the oldest photo, older than this one.
So this is my great-great-grandmother.
Grandmother, yeah.
Also known as Efwa. This woman and this man the reason that I am here. They had at least one child in each of the forts that he commanded. And she was a trader. She doesn't look mixed race to me at all, so, well, good for you, PMJ. You went for the full-blooded African. Whenever it was taken, it was presumably sent by her grandson, my grandfather, to PMJ. If that's the case, then it was a way of saying, she hasn't forgotten you. I hope you haven't forgotten her. Wow. This is kind of unreal almost, isn't it?
But you are now a cousin of me.
Yes, that's right. We'll have to exchange Christmas cards.
Oh, yes. So it is.
It's just such a pleasure and a privilege to see all this. I'm really grateful to you. Thank you very much for this.
Oh,
thank you very much.
I have done it with much pleasure. To you.
Thank you. I can't stop grinning about it, to be able to put names to those faces and faces to the names that I'd heard. It's, I'm standing now in a cold field in northeastern Holland, having been sweating incessantly in blistering heat in Ghana, and the fact that this part of the world is connected to that part of the world in me, I think speaks for itself. It pleases me enormously that there is as much diversity in the world. I think now that it was rash of me to believe that my mother's side of the family were trying to be something that they weren't really, and had the airs and graces of Europeans when they were really Africans. I think they were what they were, and they just accepted it. It's not only that there is no black and white, there's so much colour in the story. It's been a privilege, but it has also been a delight. It's been an adventure with, actually, a happy ending.
And Who Do You Think You Are continues next Monday at 1 o'clock. Next tonight, stay with us for drama with The Silence.